Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Wendy. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. So to get to the craft, you can skip through to about 5:32. You may have heard me talk about my aunt that was a crafter, and we used to call her the craft goddess. But this is her craft room. She passed away in 2011, and I had to be with my uncle for a doctor's appointment and a procedure that he had to have done. So I wanted to just walk you through and show you some of her things and how she used to be organized. She was way ahead of her time as far as crafting, and I think she started trends that, you know, doing buffalo check before buffalo check was even popular 15 years ago. So it's a very emotional kind of tour just because it's got her hands all over it. And when I was doing the crafts, I used everything that she had still in her craft room. And she has a lot of stuff and it's stored everywhere. But I just brought some things together and just did what I could. I think she'd be proud of the things I made, and I hope you guys like it. This is a picture that she did. She was a wonderful painter. This is one of my favorites. Her colors and her palette was always so soft and subtle, and I think that's where I get my color preferences. Here's a picture of her with my daughter, who's now 30. I found the glue gun and I wasn't sure. It looked actually pretty new, but I didn't know if it was going to work, but it did. And so I just went through, found some things. I was so excited to get this time with her. I felt really close to her in this moment. And it's a little emotional, like I said, but it means a lot to me and that I was able to do this. So I just thought some of you might be interested. You can see where I have my love of cloches, and that all started with her. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like I said, you can skip forward if you aren't interested, but I'll get to the items that I used in just a second. I found this Hallmark bag, and on the receipt it shows that she had purchased these items just about 3 weeks before she died. And so opening them up, I saw these beautiful little treasures, and I can only imagine what it was she was going to be doing with these ornaments. This peace sign is special because my uncle cut it out for her. She would give him designs, and just taking wood, he would use his scroll saw and make whatever she needed. So for our first craft, I found some things and put them together. I was planning to incorporate some red. I found these are called snow babies, and she used those a lot. Some white hydrangeas, these ornaments, which I didn't end up using, but they're so pretty. I found this Noel sign, and I ended up using him. This tree I didn't use, but I did put it in the display at the end. Here's some red ribbon that I'll use in our second project, and then some berries on branches. And then this tree, she has about 4 of these and has them placed and displayed differently. This white box was on the shelf, but nothing was in it, so we're going to use that as the base. I found her glue sticks, and I wasn't sure if everything was going to work because even the glue sticks were a little yellow. So they did end up working, but they were very stringy. I think more stringy than normal. I found some the floral foam. Those had even actually discolored too, as you'll see in a little while. But I'm just trying to figure out what I can do with what I have to work with. Usually when I purchase items, I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do. But in this case, because I was just working with what she had, which by far is a lot, it was just kind of fun to play around and figure out what I was going to create. So this ribbon is not two-sided, so I had to do the twisting method where you only have the front side showing. So each time you go to loop it over, you have to twist it and pinch it between your fingers so that it stays all in place. It's a little bit harder, not that it's really difficult, it's just that it's hard to hold in one handful, but then you just put the wire around and secure it, or the chenille stem. And here I found a really pretty bird. One year she did a whole tree of these white birds, and we still do a Christmas tree every year. We do 2 Christmas trees for my Uncle Fred. Going from about 20 trees to 2 is a major decrease, but my sweet friend Mary, who is also a 20 tree person at Christmas time, we both do one just to honor my Aunt Jeannie, and it, I think, makes my Uncle Fred feel good about it too, and has something, you know, he can't do it himself, he's 87. So here I'm just adding, I added the tree into the box, and then I was going to try and cover up the bottom so you couldn't see it, but I didn't have enough of that batting, so I'm going to be using this white sheer material that she uses. I mean, you can use material for anything at Christmas time. I use just remnants of fabric to use as a tree skirt down below. And this fabric, it lays really nicely and pleats really, you know, it's real flowy fabric. So after I put the fabric in there, I'm gonna cover it again with the with the batting that I did have, just to make it look snowy and you know, wintry. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna place my bow, and I end up placing it at the top. And you have to go through some, you know, testing things. And one thing I also recommend anytime you're doing any crafting at all is, for example, the buffalo check. You know, I'm doing all of my Christmas decor in the buffalo check. So I have one bow already made, and I have it set aside so that if I'm making some project, I can kind of test it out and see if I want a bow at all or where I want to put it, and that will also determine the size. So just another little tip for you. Here I decided that I was going to add some hydrangeas to the tree. The tree was really pretty on its own, and it has these crystals hanging and dangling, and there's like a light frosting type of coverage on each of the branches that make it twinkle. Again, you should see this in real life because it's so glittery and pretty, and it's just so shiny and perfect for Christmas. But just to give it some more interest, I went ahead and cut apart the hydrangeas and then stuck them in, and I hot glued them to the branches so that they would stay in place. You don't have to hot glue them, but sometimes, you know, if you're going to keep it this way, you can store it and then they won't fall off. So here I'm going to dovetail the ends of my bow now that I've determined that this is where it's going to be and I'm committed to it. So I hot glued the bird to the top as well. And then I found these twigs, and it's a nice long stem. So I thought I could use that as a way to secure the entire tree. So I stuck it down into the foam at the base of the tree and then wired it to the tree. And so it made it a lot more sturdy, because when you get, you know, ornaments on there or anything that has any kind of weight, it has a tendency to lean. So, and this didn't have a place to really glue down to the bottom of the box, so it can still be lifted out. So now I'm just adding some more of the hydrangeas throughout just to get it fuller. And then I took one big bunch and just put him in the front, just to make it like fuller at the bottom. And then I found these ornaments that are like crystal and mirror and just shiny little things that are so pretty. They're snowflakes. So I attached those here and there, and you know, you want them distributed evenly. And then I put one towards the base and just tucked him in there. And then I took the Noel sign. I like to put words pretty much on everything, but this was a sweet message that I thought just tucked in there perfectly. And even though there were little holes showing because it was on a hanger, I just took some hot glue and placed one of the hydrangea leaves or flowers on each of those holes to cover that up. And then I took one of the larger ornaments and hot glued him to the front of the box. And here's how it turned out. I think it's beautiful. My Aunt Jeannie, who loves white, that was one of her favorite non-colors, I guess, but she was notorious for doing things in white, and I think she would absolutely love this tree. Now I wanted to use some color this time, and I found this little sleigh that was in her inventory, and this cake plate. She had already made these, and they were on styrofoam platforms, but I guess she had taken it out of something. I'm not sure what, but I wanted to use one of them. There were those picks and some pine cones and some more styrofoam, some little ornaments, felt, and I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use, and so I go back and forth the whole time, but I knew I wanted that sleigh on there. It was so cute. So I just cut the foam in half, and there were some items I couldn't find, like a wire cutter or wire cutters and a knife. I could have gotten it from the other room, but I wanted to use everything that was from this room. So, and actually once I got in there, I did not want to leave. This is actually the next day, so I'm sorry my body is in a lot of these shots. I have my camera on a ladder stuck in some foam, so it's not the greatest quality. But anyway, what I'm doing here is I filled that sleigh with some felt to kind of give it a bump up, so that I didn't have to put as many items inside of it. So I wanted some red berries, and this particular pick had some like burgundy colors, and I wanted it lighter and brighter. So she had this garland stuck in a bag, and it's in pretty rough shape, but I took off some of the greenery, and these were very soft colored, kind of like lamb's ear. And again, she was always drawn toward the lighter, more muted colors. So I was able to use that, and I just hot glued them to the cake plate. You know, you don't have to hot glue these things either. If you're using a cake plate that, you know, you use, this can all be temporary, but I knew I wanted to keep this forever, so I hot glued everything. So I'm tucking in some pine needles and trying to figure out how I want it. I made the red bow, and I keep placing it there, and it looks good, but there was a little bit of a scarcity of ribbon in there for some reason, and I don't know if it was just because it was after Christmas and so she had used everything, but I wasn't happy with the red of that ribbon. And it actually was Dollar Tree ribbon. I recognized that because, you know, we spend a lot of time shopping at Dollar Tree, but so I'm going to end up changing that. But I placed a lot of the berries that were from other picks into the sleigh. And here's where I'm gluing everything down once I knew that I was happy with how it was laying. And if there are any pieces of greenery that has upside down leaves, you can just usually twist it to make the top sides showing. So once I committed to the placement of certain things, I will glue them down as I go to make sure that it's the right scale and it's the right height for everything. The stems of the greenery I wanted to hide, so I found this other tree that was a different height. So, you know, you don't want everything level. You want it at varying heights. So, I mean, I'm telling you, I went back and forth a million times, and I finally decided and committed to the one with the white trees instead of the green trees, because it was kind of clashing with what I had in the sleigh. So I recommend not gluing things until you're 100% sure. So I covered the styrofoam or the green floral foam with that felt and got it covered, and then just tucked it in around so it kind of looked like snow, and also covered the green of the foam. And then I just start placing some of the pine leaves, greenery, in various places, kind of to make a little garland, you know, where it's kind of some going one direction and some going the other. So I found this white ribbon. It's off-white and it says Noel, and so I used that instead for the ribbon, and I think it looks a lot better. And then to tie in the off-white, because then it was kind of sticking out and had no business being there, so to incorporate some more of that off-white, I took those little ornaments and glued those down. And then I used the little snow baby. She had these like mustard orange boots on, so I didn't want to see that, so I tucked her in and placed her seated in the sleigh, and that covered her boots. Oh my gosh, I love her. And then we always want to do the dovetailing of the ribbon just to complete it and have a finished edge. As I was playing with the ribbon, I ended up not liking how long it was, so I cut it off and and placed it differently on the left side. But so just once you get the main pieces on there, you can see where you have some empty spots, and just tuck those in, and hot glue it or not, but just tuck those in and secure everything once you figure out what you like. There were a couple places where I didn't glue the stuff down because it was gonna stay no matter what. So to make everything softer and muted, she had a couple of cans of this snow, and actually when it first came out, it's so old it wasn't even spraying right, but it started working. And then she has this beautiful like snow confetti stuff that I placed in the wet snow, and so it stayed. It was kind of like the adhesive for it. But here's how it turned out, and I think it is so sweet and just soft colors, even though we're using the reds and greens. We're in her living room, and as you can see in the background, she likes her light greens and lime greens and soft and muted colors. And I think this is the perfect addition to the room. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it wasn't normal, it wasn't a regular craft, but if you did like it, please give this a thumbs up. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Thank you to everyone who already has, and I'm trying really hard to get back to all of your sweet comments, and I appreciate you watching so much. Have a blessed day.